Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Dylan.
Yeah, that's right.
Usually I do all that
What you gonna do?
I do all that in one breath usually, and I thought today I would just
Shaking it up a little,
just
huh?
space it out a little bit.
Yeah. Back to our standard hours,
Hey,
more or less. At least when we were hammering them out like it's nobody's business.
Yeah, once upon a time. I have a little, again, I do this every now and then, a little pull behind the curtain, a little breaking of the fourth wall.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to be out of town towards the tail end of this week.
Oh, yeah.
I'm busy with a whole bunch of stuff, and so we're going to try and bang out 2 of these bad boys this week.
Best we can.
Yeah.
You want to do the other one tomorrow, is that right? Because, I mean, I got like a few parties that have requested my appearance.
Halloween's tomorrow, by the way,
Yeah.
again, so
Ooh.
we already recorded our Halloween episode.
It's a giant robot. Ooh.
No, it doesn't have to be tomorrow, but sometime, maybe Wednesday. Anyways, today we watched another installment of Gundam Unicorn.
Paranormal activity continues.
Yeah,
But for real this time.
in TD system. This one was an action-packed episode.
Oh, yeah.
Full of really good fights. A lot of, we got a good glimpse at all the main actors in this episode just duking it out.
All the major players.
Really good, and I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Me too, man. That first confrontation at Palau is one of my favorites.
Yeah. So let me get this straight. Palau is a big asteroid,
right,
that they're using as a colony, and they're
a total of 4 asteroids,
right,
bolted together,
right,
and used as a sort of pseudo colony,
right. And it is supposed to be kind of reminiscent of Abaoku. Okay, a wee bit.
Not quite as important or anything like that, but
it's not as big as it, right? Or is it about the same size?
It's probably smaller, if I had to guess.
Cool.
I haven't seen any kind of size chart comparing the two, but just looking at it, Abaoku is
massive.
Yeah. Insane.
So Palau, it is kind of the base of action for Neo Zeon.
It's one of them.
Okay.
It's definitely where most of the team members for Zinnerman's ship came from. But it would be considered a de facto base of operations for them.
Cool.
But yeah, it's a pretty neat setup.
It is.
Until it gets absolutely obliterated.
Yeah. So in that fight, it gets totally destroyed? Or does it just get like kind of mangled up?
Mangled for sure.
Okay.
It's going to be difficult to bounce back from everything they just did to it.
Like Dylan was saying, that it is a total of 4 asteroids kind of like bolted together. They kind of have like struts in between them.
All right, they've got residential districts, military ports, all sorts of stuff.
But it has like it has specifically these bracings between them.
Sort of like an interconnecting pillar system.
Right. And at basically the top of this episode, to kind of refresh my memory, what happens at the tail end of the second episode?
So
I remember the unicorn gets captured.
Right. Banazar is taken into custody.
Right.
And left with Zinnerman's team.
Yeah.
To just, I guess, just hold him over until he's able to get back in the unicorn and reveal the next set of coordinates for Laplace's box.
Yeah.
And during that, he's able to have a little heart-to-heart with Marita.
Yeah.
Brings into perspective a few things about how they see their current scenario.
Right.
Which I thought is pretty neat.
It is.
You get a nice view for both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But while that was going on, Dagza from the ECOS team decides to put together a little hostage rescue operation, which just so happens to involve engaging in full force. Sorry, not quite full force, but engaging them enough to cause a distraction to give Benajar a window to escape.
Right.
With the unicorn. Which goes relatively smoothly at first. Until the fucking Sinanju shows up and starts wrecking shit.
Dude, I want to be that guy.
Yeah? What you mean?
I want to be that guy that can like show up and turn the tide.
Oh, right.
You know what I'm saying? I think it's more I just want to be that important.
Yeah.
I think everybody probably wants that, or maybe I could be wrong.
The equivalent of a Spartan among a bunch of Marines.
Exactly. Exactly.
The Master Chief effect, if you would.
We can go ahead and say that. I like that. Is everyone? This could be an equal fight, but the second I show up, everyone's like, "Damn, we may not make it."
Yeah. Right.
I think more so.
Either we're gonna lose or we gotta get the fuck out of here.
I think more so in the aspect of like, how could we have done this without you, kind of thing. This may just be like a little narcissistic quality this poking through.
Who doesn't want to be a hero? Come on.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. I just want to be a hero. I just want to be able to step in, and then everyone's like, "Man, we got it now."
Yeah.
Anyways, and that's what happens in this fight. Is that it may be a pretty balanced fight. Or a little tit for tat, as far as like number of troops and quality of troops and stuff.
And then out of nowhere, you see a little flash of red.
Yeah, and everyone's like,
he immediately starts styling on these motherfuckers.
Oh yeah,
hard. Rolls up behind a lotto, like these tiny little infiltration mole suits.
Yeah,
just does a flick of the wrist.
Oh yeah,
chops off both of his cannons, and then just shoves his beam saber like into the cockpit and starts. Yeah. Tracing that motherfucker like an Etch-a-Sketch.
Just
right. It's insane.
And then, of course, like as this is all happening, like the Earth Federation and the ships were like, "Damn it,
where the fuck is he?
We've been foiled."
Right.
They've been waiting for us, and it was a trap. And it's like, I mean, if up until right now, I thought you had it in the bag.
Yeah, it looked like it was going pretty well at first.
Yeah.
But with the advent of the sleeves coming in.
Yeah.
Definitely turned the tide.
Right. And then eventually Benajar gets the unicorn out. Starts whipping around. That's a real fun time at that point because then it feels a little more balanced of a fight.
Yeah. The two hero units are on the field.
Yeah, right.
The Supreme Commanders.
Yeah, right. The armored cores are out and about.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we get this amazing fight between the Gundam and the Kshatriya.
Oh man!
And
if you can even call it that,
I mean, right? Again, and this is like this is where I feel another strong suit of what Gundam can do. Sometimes is like even though it's a fight sequence, there's still a lot of like emotion and stake involved. It's not just like. Unlike the first beginning fight sequence where the Sinanjus, like you said, I'm going to take your words a little bit, and it's just styling on them fools.
Right.
It's just, moving around. It's like, okay, it's pretty, and it's like kind of showing off and stuff.
Right.
But this is one of those fights where like now.
This has weight.
Yeah, there's like emotions involved and stakes. And
two characters who know each other well enough.
Yeah. And they're like.
Realize that they shouldn't be fighting.
They're duking it out hard. Or at least they're giving it all they got.
Right. Benajar's got his head in the right place.
Right.
He's just trying to prevent as much fighting as possible.
Yeah.
But Marita's just like locked in, man. She's too far gone into that whole pilot mentality. But eventually he has enough, and
he breaks.
Yeah, the NTD activates, and he just tears her apart, dude. I'm like literally.
Yeah.
He's tearing shit off of the suit itself, ripping out piping and shit. It's insane.
Yeah.
It
feels a bit savage, and it's kind of cool for these like very well mechanized machines.
At one point, she like goes to take a swing at him, and he just cuts her forearm off.
Yeah.
And then she's like immediately on guard. He just shoves a beam saber into one of her wings, leaves it in there, and then grabs the other one.
Yeah.
Cuts a wing off completely. It's insane.
There's a point in time where he has his beam saber in his hand, and he shoves it into her face, and then shoves
straight through the main camera.
Shoves it so far into it that like it is now lodged in there.
Hilt.
Yeah, to the hilt, a little lodged in there, and he can't get it out, and just lets it go and just keeps it there. And it's like, damn,
it's like, lay off, bro.
Right.
Shit.
But I think we also get. I think this is a first step into seeing.
New type shenanigans.
Well, also yes, but also, are you controlling the machine or is the machine controlling you? Kind of thing. Is that it gets to?
Do we control them or do they control us, Roger Smith?
It gets us to it opens up that door that I think is going to be a conversation that we're going to have a couple more times of like that is a benefit and a con, I think, to
a pitfall, to be sure,
right, of this new system of it kind of working off your emotions, but also being like a killing machine of new types,
right,
and it kind of doing its own thing. So this is an interesting little introduction to that because it does kind of he goes a little red in the eyes and just like
yeah. They do describe the pilot in terms of like working in conjunction with the system. It more so just uses the pilot itself as a processor.
Oh gosh,
for those psycho waves, and just turns it into like raw aggression for the suit to take advantage of.
Right. He's about to land the killing blow. And all of a sudden,
she's down an arm, a leg, a few wings, can't even see.
Has a whole sword in her head,
and he uses one of the fucking tonfas in the forearm to deliver the final blow. But her spirit, I guess you could say, consciousness reaches out.
Yeah.
And he immediately like turns the thing off and goes to like just cradle her.
Yeah,
and get her to safety. Which
it's
is
like
one of my favorite moments.
Yeah, it's like her laugh flashed before his eyes. They have like this new type connection. They reach a
mutual understanding.
Right. And it's like
just common.
Right.
The end result.
Right. And in that moment, I think he realizes a lot about her.
Yeah, he's like, damn, bro, this shit's fucking sad.
Man, that's messed up.
Yeah.
And like Dylan just said, instead of, at the last minute, turns the blade off and just like caresses this massive, a
big old bear hug.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially like as soon as you get the shot of him like bringing her into the hangar of the Argama. It looks so funny because he's like I can't really get like a good grip. I'm barely hanging on.
Yeah, it's like a child hugging a full tree. He's like, you can't get your hands even halfway around it. But of course, it's like I think he's able to like reorient himself, so he is floating backwards into the hangar, and it's just this massive unit that's just he's just trying to stop.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So she's down for the count for a while.
Yeah.
They end up bringing her to the med bay, and they find out that she was one of the mass-produced Pudu clones from Double Zeta, which we have not seen yet.
And I didn't know. I didn't know it was from Double Zeta.
Right.
Which that's crazy. A little tidbit there.
Yeah. Oh man,
I didn't know it was going to be cloning in Double Zeta.
Oh yeah, bro. They go insane.
Yikes.
In that series. That's going to be fun, man.
Oh, no. Oh, man. I haven't added it to the board yet, but I definitely downloaded and clipped that.
Yeah.
There's a video
shot of Camille.
Oh, man. There's a video we love to refer to every now and then, just to have a good laugh. And it is
this collection of like split-second clips from every episode of the original series.
Right.
It's called like through Zeta and Double Zeta.
Right. I think it's called Gundam Out of Context, and I think it literally is just 1 second from each episode of like the original like mainline series,
right?
And
shit's funny.
And there is one in particular where I want to say it's in Zeta, where between episode the 1 second from episode like 3 and 4 or whatever,
whenever
like
he's
that.
Like laughing his ass off, taking like terrorizing that police officer who beat the shit out of him, and then it's the next episode where his fucking parents get killed.
Yeah, and he's scream crying.
Right.
So as you can imagine, like we're I mean, it's 1 second each, so we're like blasting through some like really funny like someone being thrown around or like a whoa, like something crazy.
It's like that other meme from one of the other Gundam shows where this dude's like, haha, I'm a genius.
Yeah.
And the very next shot is just like, oh no.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So he goes like, ha 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 ha, and he just scream crying, and it's so good. And
gets me every
anyways, so I love it. It's very hilarious.
Yeah. Has me a sensible chuckle.
Yes. After this part, we kind of get into like the meat of this episode, where there's a lot of like, now we're getting into the more political side of what's going on a little bit, or like the less of the action going on. We're trying to get, I almost forgot her name. I just called her Audrey.
Minerva.
She's trying to get back to Earth because she's trying. So, whose dad is she going to talk to?
Riddy's.
Riddy, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's part of the Marcinus family as well.
I see.
So, if there's anyone she can talk to try to get a hold of the situation, it would be his father.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's trying to go there to like, make amends in a way, or like try, or
right, just to get a handle on the situation to make sure that it doesn't escalate any further than it has already.
Right. And so what I'm assuming that his family is at least aligned with the Earth Federation.
Yeah, real high up on the mark.
That's what I would imagine.
They still look out for their own first and foremost. Like they've had they worked in conjunction with Banagher's family, the Vist Foundation, for the past like few years, taking advantage of the box's properties to use it to be able to get a foothold.
I forgot that Banagher was part of the Vist stuff.
The sole heir.
Oof.
Yeah. But other than that, those two are just going to be taking a little soiree to Earth for a while.
Yeah.
Just to try to lighten the load on Banagher, hopefully. As if that's a possibility at all.
Yeah.
So, meanwhile... right, after Family Guy transition.
Yeah, right.
Banagher wakes up in the med bay, like right next to Marita.
Yeah.
And after talking to the doctor about the nature of new types.
Yeah.
And what that could mean, how Marita's a cyber new type and all that jazz.
Yeah. And whatever that means.
Right. Doc steps out for a moment, and Banagher's able to have a little heart-to-heart with Marita after and he was like,
sorry I beat you up.
What the fuck just happened?
Sorry I cleaned your clock.
She straight up says, I saw inside you. I'm like, excuse me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she had that whole backflow situation as well, and it's a whole two-way street, that link.
Right. His life flashed before her eyes.
Exactly. So she's like, damn, bro, we might be two of a kind.
Yeah.
We're not so different, you and I.
She's just injured in bed. She's like, damn, bro, that's crazy. Yeah. Good luck, though.
How about that shit, huh? Woo. You got a cigarette?
Yeah.
Goddamn.
Oh, that's good.
Unfortunately, her injuries and mental conditions start getting the better of her, so doctors got to step back in, and their little convo's cut short.
Right.
But, she's then slated for transport to the Marcinus household, unbeknownst to the rest of the crew. They're just leaving it up to that civilian transport that Alberto's leaving on.
Okay.
How about that fellow, by the way?
Yeah.
We touched on him like during the episode where he got in touch with his sister, talking about the plan and how everything's going relatively smoothly, but the soldiers are fucking exhausted.
Yeah.
After everything that's happened. And she's like, man, I don't give a fuck about what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Forget about that shit. So poor fella just now coming to grips with everything he's done and starting to have like second thoughts and growing conscience about it, you really start to root for him.
Yeah.
Of course, it doesn't help that he's voiced by one of my favorite voice actors.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But, yeah, he starts shaping up. But, yeah, the next couple episodes are going to be a little on the rough side.
Can you help me with Alberto again? Which one was he?
He's part of the Marcinus family.
Okay. Who is the guy that I asked you about in the purple suit?
That's Alberto.
Okay, that's okay. I was making sure I had the right person.
Yeah.
Right. He kind of seems like a little bit of a bumbling fool for a minute, but
starts off as a bit of a stooge.
Right. But now, like you just said, I know what you're saying.
Starts to feel more human.
Right. And you can see that he's kind of being used, and that's the bad part. Is like if you may be a bit of a stooge character. But like if you're
turn that around,
if you're meaning well, and then like you find out that like your family's like using you in a way, you're like, damn, bro, like he's not a bad guy,
right? You'll have all my chips, bro. I'm with you.
Right, exactly. It'd be one thing if he was dumb and just and also was just kind of careless or whatever. But now you're like, I mean, you're not that bad, and like your family's kind of acting shitty towards you. It's like, oh, well, yeah, you're right though. We get to see a little bit about what's happening behind the scenes there. And that was his sister we saw?
Yes.
Okay. Got it. So, yeah. Bruh. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
What happens towards the tail end whenever we're getting closer towards this kind of final fight between the Sananju and the unicorn?
So, because the NTD system was activated again, it revealed new coordinates that just so happened to align with Laplace.
Really?
Which was the Prime Minister's residence
so
up in space.
Is that so? Whenever the NTD system is activated, is it like able to? Is it just like unlocking new things?
Right. It will reveal new clues as to the box's location.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That feels like a flaw, not a feature.
Well, I mean, if it's in the right hands,
okay.
And I mean, there's only one person who can pilot it, so it's relatively foolproof.
Okay.
But because
I guess who has access to that information? Is it just the person?
It would only be the pilot.
Right.
But Full Frontal, while the unicorn was in custody, strapped a little psychommu monitoring device on there.
Got it.
So now he'll be able to trace the coordinates as well.
Little trickster.
Mm-hmm. So he does that.
Mm-hmm.
And once Benaja gets there initially and is lined up with where, like, the exact location of the coordinates,
right,
all that happens is that a radio broadcast of that inauguration of the new century
right,
starts just playing from the unicorn.
Damn.
Yeah. Of course, nobody knows what that means, but
right.
His little sixth sense new type ability activates and realizes that the Argama is being targeted.
Uh-oh.
So he bolts out of Laplace at supersonic speeds, which it looks so fucking funny because he like has the realization, turns, and the next shot we see is just like one of the Jagans just chilling outside, keeping an eye out on things. And you just see him bust out of the wall. Not even like through the giant hole that he came in through. It just straight through.
Makes a new doorway.
Right.
Yeah.
And is hightailing it.
Right.
And then we see that Zinnerman's group with the Xeon remnants and some of the sleeves have found the Argama. Now, Frontal's objective is to get the NTD system activated again so that he can derive where the next set of coordinates is going to be.
Right.
Which, unfortunately, involves the death of our good pal Dagaza, who is one of the ECOS team grunts that we meet.
This show, Gundam, just in general, sometimes has a really good way of like emotionally, like really getting to you.
Yeah.
Or like investing you in characters. I mean, may I say, for probably the 100th time, War in the Pocket.
Mm-hmm.
The prime example of
just
really getting you to love a character, just to really just to really push you down and then really kick you when you're down.
Mm-hmm.
With that last comment that we all know that I'm talking about in War in the Pocket that I won't repeat right now. But this is one of those little minor moments. And I feel like we all know this happens in shows and in movies where they introduce a character and they introduce that character late a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it could go one of a few ways. This could be a new character that we end up having a long-standing adventure with, and it grows into something. Or this character's been introduced late because something's gonna happen.
He is development fodder.
Yes,
for the main protagonist,
and that is what is gonna happen here.
Mm-hmm.
We get this new character, or a new enough character, where we see him leave his home in the beginning of this episode. And his son runs out there to him and is like, Dad, why do you have to leave so soon? Why do you leave so urgently? And he's like, I gotta go do business. Gotta go do work.
Oh, you're talking about Gilboa.
Oh, is that? Oh, I'm okay. Who are you talking about then? Because that's what I'm. Okay, which one? Where did he? Because I'm
one
thinking
of the Lotto pilots from the ECOS team.
Okay,
he's the dude who rides along with Benaja for a while, like to
go
to the coordinates.
I'm jumping all the way to the end. I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, you're fine.
Just to round out my story, there's a guy. His son comes up there. Super sweet moment, very touching. Where his son is is worrying about him.
Yeah, we were introduced to him last episode, or at least we knew of him as a member of Zinnerman's team.
Yeah,
and he's like this super nice dude.
That's what I'm saying.
He's easily one of the best people on that team.
And then he's just he's not the main character, but in this episode we get a very prime example of him and his family, or at least his son in a way.
Yeah.
And then whenever, what is the asteroid called again? Palau. Whenever Palau is being destroyed, you're like, oh shit, either his family's gonna die or something's gonna happen. But I think everyone ends up being okay.
I believe so, yeah. I think they make it out.
He told his son to like make sure to watch out for your siblings and your mom, like take care of the family for me.
Yeah.
And boy, at the very end. Anyways, but you continue with the person you're talking about. We'll touch about the guy I'm talking about in a second. I got crossed up with who you're talking about.
Right. So Dagaza ends up having a little sit down with Benaja after he gets back from that whole rescue operation, and informs him about the operation.
Traumatic.
Oh yeah. Right.
Oh, like, I forgot how many people died in this episode.
Yeah. So he starts rattling off like their next plans, and he's like, "Why the?" But I was sure sitting there like, I'm just a civilian, dude. I don't have to take orders from you. It's like, you're right. You don't. Right. However, you've intervened in combat situations not once but 3 times now.
Yeah.
So you're knee deep in it as it is, bro. I don't think there's anything going back.
There's no accidents here.
Right. He puts it the best way he possibly can, is to not think of it in terms of factions, but the people that you have to protect now because of the situation that you're in.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to look at it for any Gundam protagonist.
Right.
Because more often than not, as if we haven't touched on it multiple times already, both sides
have their flaws.
Gray as all hell.
Yep.
They've both done awful shit.
You're right.
And it's best not to be a total lackey.
Exactly.
But man, you better watch out for the people you care about.
Yeah, you're right. Man, and it was a really touching moment too. Mm-hmm. And again, I thought he was going to make it at least a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But like I just said, I forgot how many tragedies were in this one, and how many deep emotional moments there were. Mm-hmm. And in a real blaze of glory.
He, before stepping out, he reminds Benaja that there's only one thing you can trust right now, and that's your heart.
Yeah.
Don't fucking lose it.
Right.
So he steps out with a single bazooka as Benaja has taken cover back in Laplace to get away from Angelo and full frontal. As this happens, Dogza takes cover by one of the old monuments, like in the courtyard. He sets some explosives up, just waiting to lure Frontal in.
Yeah.
Sets them both off, puts him off balance, fires one good shot at his face. Now, you'd think that would have been the end of it, but the Sinanju's just a bit too sturdy.
Yeah.
And because of its design, it's able to switch over to its initial, like, two-eyed visor mode.
Right.
As opposed to the mono eye. So it's still able to function, like, just fine.
Right.
And he straight up uses his fucking beam axe built into his shield to obliterate Dogza.
Gosh, dude. And we get this, I mean, it is, I wouldn't say it's graphic, but it is like a very visceral image of like the upper part of a body, and then just like the kind of like the frayed edges of like what you know to be
gone,
the charred remains of, and it's just like, oh, damn,
that's rough.
And then we get this like what looks like hot plasma, but I think it's supposed to be
rocket launcher.
Oh, is that what it was?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the rocket launcher gets melted, and it gets cast upon this monument that Dylan referenced, and it kind of melts or whatever. It looks hot, and it cools in a certain way. I thought it was just like his remains or whatever, like the charred
right. That would
viscera. And I was like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, and of course, once that happens, I mean,
all bets are off.
Yeah,
man.
the limits.
You did it now.
The limits are broken.
Mm-hmm. And it's right back to where he was with Marita.
The angel has awoken.
Right. Oh man.
Yeah. So oh, dude, what a cool fight! Also,
the NTD activates immediately.
Oh yeah.
Like I love that as the series progresses, the unicorn starts to feel more and more organic.
Yeah.
Like, because when it activates after Dogza dies, it looks like it's struggling.
Oh, yeah.
Not to mention the sounds it makes. Like, initially, it's just like the sound of its thrusters are like this really high-pitched, like, whistling sound.
Mm-hmm.
Very ethereal in nature. But now it's just making those noises on its own.
Yeah.
Especially whenever it takes... Oh, my God. It took over Marita's funnels, too.
Dude, that was
fucking
wild.
Psychom you hijack.
Bruh, that was wild.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever, like, especially because the character of Marita played it so well.
Oh yeah, she's on her A game right now.
Yeah,
but after that, after she lands one hit on the unicorn, it's like
the animators did a great.
Those are mine now.
Yeah, the animators did a great job of like instilling the fear of what's going to go on. Because like that is like a big part of her effectiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden she just like funnels, come on, and then it's like. Funnels?
The big one that got me was, don't you recognize me?
Yeah, right. And of course, there's that moment where like Bonninger just holds out his arm, or I guess it's actually the unicorn Gundam like just holds out his arm and just like a Darth Vader move of like, now you belong to me, and they just like flip around, and all of a sudden it's like, guys, this isn't fun anymore.
Yeah,
and yeah, that's the real shit right there. But you're right. That's like the riding the line between Jedi and Sith thing, where it's like, are you what's going on in there?
You
got a lot of power in there, Bonninger, and I think you're kind of scaring me a little bit.
Right. But man,
and especially in this moment when he dies, it's like that is a devastating blow.
Oh yeah,
and it feels like it whenever it transforms into the NTD mode. It's like, oh boy, here we go.
Better get ready. And he's firing off shots like it's nobody's business.
Oh, yeah.
Like wanton destruction.
Yeah.
Frontal's able to dodge the first one. Like he goes up and then he immediately gets grazed on the shield by the second one.
Yeah.
And we see Angelo's perspective outside.
Oh,
where
man.
Shots are just exploding from the colony.
I mean, just
it's
evacuating.
Like, what the fuck's going on in there?
Guys, I wanted this party too.
Right. So... we see Frontal like just bolt the fuck out of there as fast as he can.
because they're in like an enclosed area.
Right, just this little section.
So obviously he's like, I got to get to some open space here. We're in a bad spot.
Yeah, I'm gonna die if I stay in.
Yeah, right. I can't stay in this little box anymore.
Yeah, and he's just on his tail for the rest of the episode.
Right.
Angelo tries to provide a bit of support.
Oh gosh,
with another one of his squad mates,
and
it is minuscule. Like it's like swatting flies.
Oh gosh, you have these two top dogs. I mean, really juking it out.
Oh yeah,
and you have this like, for lack of a better term, like a lackey who's like, "Boss, I'm here to help," and you're like, "Dude, you're in my way."
Right, stay the fuck out of it, dude.
And then of course he keeps chiming in. It's like, "Stop this, Captain! Your life isn't worth it." And I was like, "Bruh, he's holding his own."
Right. Just
full frontal is in the zone right now. I mean, like, yes, he is up against like probably his number one competitor, but like he's
still at a disadvantage.
He's doing okay.
He's able to avoid most of everything, but I mean, he's like barely
right,
barely getting a hold of it. Like at one point, the unicorn cuts through an entire segment of that area
all the way down,
splits it in twain,
and it's massive.
Yeah, he like grabs onto the Sananji's leg and tears it off.
It feels so aggressive.
Yeah,
like, but not like because again, for this entire franchise, really, or for this series, when we see these like fights, it all feels very clean. Like especially whenever the Sananju comes in and starts wrecking shit.
Right, professional.
It is like the shots are accurate and clean. So it's like it's a little quick laser zaps through you, boom, the whole cockpit blows up. You get a little slash through the midsection, boom, destroyed.
Right.
And it's all these like woo wah wah wah, like clean, or like if you get shot with something, if it's aggressive, it's probably a bomb or something that like blows up. But man, we get to this part now and we're like ripping shit off. You're like, damn, this is savage.
On close quarters stuff.
Yeah.
That's when it gets messy.
Yeah. And it feels so
it feels like it feels a lot less like a duel between like equal opponents and more so just
just a ravenous monster. You have the unicorn. It's just like Sananju's like, holy shit, dude!
Right, back the fuck up, Jesus Christ!
You're just slobbering on me, man. Damn, control this beast.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So at this point, the fight's progressed enough to where they're both like bordering on re-entry into Earth's atmosphere, which is already dangerous enough. Mobile suits aren't equipped to handle that unless it has like an onboard system specifically for it.
Right.
So Frontal's just like, dude, we got to stop this, man. We're both gonna burn up if you keep this going.
He chimes in and he's like, hey, man, we got to
race. Just on there, they're like, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah. I'm just going crazy.
Right. So he lines up one final shot. And man, Gilboa moves in front of it and takes the hit.
Oh. And that's the guy I was referring to with his son, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then this weird new type stuff clicks in, and then
he hears his final words.
Yeah, and it's like, bruh.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like this rage mode that Boninger's in with the unicorn all of a sudden subsides, and it's like this.
It's just a complete shutdown.
It's because it's almost like he's coming to, where it's like oh god, because like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing, where all of a sudden
I just killed my fucking friend.
Right, yeah. You woke up and you're like, oh my god, dude, what is going on? And that's what happens in that moment where he, the final words of Bonager is he's like trying to shoot the Sananju, and he's like, I'm not gonna miss this time, and he like shoots one last.
Like, I mean, you're not wrong. But you ain't gonna like what you hit.
Oof.
Yeah,
it was hard. And then we get this cool credit sequence where this song is swelling in as some of the credits are popping up, and then we just get like these last few moments of like,
we get shots of Captain Otto trying to retrieve Bonager before it's too late.
Yeah.
Of course, he pulls the ship away, but then he sees the fucking... I can't remember the name of the ship, or at least I can't remember how to pronounce it, but Zinnerman is going all in.
Yeah.
Like, he is actively pursuing Bonager to retrieve him.
Right.
Which is how he ends up the way he is in the next episode.
Yeah. Crazy.
Can't wait for that one, dude.
The next episode is going to be a big one.
Mm-hmm.
We get a little sneak peek.
Yep.
At Bright showing up, which is really cool.
Londo Bell.
Yeah. Oh man.
The Jesters.
Oh, the Jesters, man. The Jesters are coming in.
Mm-hmm.
What is that what is the name of that big the
mobile armor?
Yeah.
Shamblo.
Oh man.
Yeah. Something the sleeves gave to the Xeon remnants for their little attack on the Torrington base.
Yeah. There's this big.
I fucking love the Torrington base, dude. I'm so glad they actually used that location again.
Yeah.
Because its initial appearance in Stardust Memory was rife.
Yeah.
With conflict.
Oh, Stardust Memory, man. That's a blast from the past.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I love it.
Yeah, that's a good one. There's a handful of these old series I want to watch again because they're so good.
Oh yeah.
I'm just sitting here and I'm realizing that if you were to tell me how long ago has it been since we all started hanging out as a group, was it after 2016? 2017? We were like we used to hang out, go to the coffee shop, play games and stuff.
It was definitely before the flood.
Yeah. So again, even still
before I graduated. Yeah.
Even still, like sometime around 2016. If you would have told me 7 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever, that I'd be as invested as I am into Gundam or any kind of like long form like anime show like that. I probably would have been like, "It's no way. I don't know what you're talking about."
Damn.
Just because I never had a way in. And also I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
Or that there was this much of it. Because again, probably at that time, the only Gundam I ever knew about, because it was the only one that any one of my friends had talked about when I was younger, was Gundam Wing.
Right.
Because there was a point in time whenever I was younger that it was Pokemon and Gundam Wing. Those were the shows that were on.
The big ones.
And then a little bit after that was Naruto when it came out. So it was like those were like big names in the industry in like the early 2000s. And so that's all I really knew about it. Yeah, and so now I'm sitting here just reminiscing on it whenever we're talking about these old shows like 8th MS Team or Stardust Memory, like some really great ones, really hard hitters.
Yeah.
I still want to sit down and watch all of G Gundam at some point.
Yes,
but
dude.
I really got to buckle myself in for that one because I feel like I'm going to have a field day with that.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, I'm just doing a little retrospective here and looking back, going, man, what? How crazy is that?
Yeah.
That we're here now. But also, wouldn't trade it. We've made some great memories along the way.
Oh yeah.
Especially watching these shows and. There's some good stuff.
The real mobile suits were the Gundams we made along the way.
Oh, man, that's great. And I was thinking back on it as well, and I was like, "You want to what?"
I thought of another one.
What?
the real
Uh-oh.
The real atrocities were the colonies we dropped along the way. That one might be my favorite.
Oh, that's bad. Damn. Wow, I don't know. I can't continue from that. Another thing that I was thinking about was we were having tea the other night and just sitting back and relaxing, and I was like, you know what? I miss the Pat Labor show. I just had that revelation. I was like, it was a feel good show. And it was, I don't know any other way to put it. It just felt good.
Yeah.
It was consistent and was, it felt like it was persistent. Like it was dependable.
Yes.
Like there was always like kind of a method to how the episodes were going to go. Mostly
very good on average.
Yeah, and it was like I just remember it was just a nice warm feeling and comfortable, and I was like I just like I miss it, even though it took us forever to get through all of it. But I was like,
oh man,
but it was awesome.
I felt like it took us relatively short. Like compared to,
you're right. I think it was also just the fact that there was much more than we thought there was.
Mm-hmm. I kept forgetting when it was supposed to end or how many episodes there were in total.
Right, that may be what it is. You psyched me out with you psyched me out twice as to when the ending was. I think, and I was like, I don't.
Because I forgot they put the rest of this TV series on like a separate disc for like the OVA version of it.
Yeah, but we watched that on our trip to Destin. Or while we were in Destin, Florida, this past April, and then we had, I think it took us until the better part of June or July. Mm-hmm. You're right, though. That probably is a shorter amount of time than like Wing, for instance.
Oh yeah,
took us a long time to get through.
But it was fun.
It was fun.
Wing was great.
Wing was a time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, anyways. I love that we've gotten this far. I love that we're rewatching Unicorn now, at least too, because like I said, I think it was in our first episode that this was the first Gundam media of any kind you've showed me, and it's nice to be able to get back and or watch it again now, knowing a little more about the universe and also just the kind of tropes and also like the quirks about Gundam,
the calling cards.
The calling cards, the good, the bad, the ugly of the shows, and what all makes them special. And I think it's given me a new appreciation for Unicorn specifically, because this is very well made, especially if they're coming out in 2010, 2011.
Oh yeah,
which is crazy to think about this is over 10 years old now.
Oh my god.
And it still is like really pretty, really clean for like an anime, which
beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm so glad I've been able to share this series with you.
Yeah.
Share it with somebody, like goddamn.
Right. Has Chase watched it with you?
We've watched a couple shows, but it's mainly just like all the tertiary stuff, like fucking just say Yatsura, Sailor Moon, all sorts of different stuff. Like we watched Gunbuster.
Oh, Gunbuster, dude.
Yes,
so
dude. Mm-hmm. What else?
Ep.3
7 was another one we started recently. Haven't finished that one yet.
Okay.
But it's been good.
Dude, again, another thing. Like, I never would have Gunbuster.
Yeah, not even just Gundam, like mecha as a genre.
I mean,
I ain't stopping at just
bro,
Gundam.
No. But Big O, if there are two animated shows, if there are two shows, period, I'm not even gonna narrow it down to just anime. If there are two pieces of media that I think I have just really fallen in love with, Cowboy Bebop and the Big O.
Yeah.
The Big O being another like a big contender for mech anime.
Oh yeah.
But like, it just hits a chord in me that's I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Scratches an itch. Has that same vibe of the Batman animated series.
Exactly.
And it's so nice.
That's pretty much what
it
is.
And I remember I loved that show even when I was growing up. But this is so specific it has such a noir feel, and I like that as well. Yeah. I don't know. It's just
so nice.
But anyways, even like I said, even Gunbuster. Never thought that I would have been like super big into Gunbuster. or just it just doesn't on the surface. Or just looking back, I would have been like, I have to have that. But now, like having watched it, I was like, damn, that's awesome.
Yeah.
For other reasons besides the fact, don't get me wrong, there's some great fight sequences between a big robot and massive hordes of aliens, which can't go wrong with that. But there's also like these other like deep emotional things. And moments in there and
the
characters.
Style of it's very visually appealing too.
Yeah, Same with Akira as well.
Mm-hmm.
Akira for a different reason. That's
right.
Oh.
Right.
Akira is beautiful, and it also gives me this like deep sense of dread of like, oh God.
Yeah.
You want to talk about body horror?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freaky
stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I have loved a lot of the things that you have showed me in this crazy show that we have done through the past 3 years we've been doing it, which is crazy to think about. But there are some like classic movies that I really need to try and sit down.
Yeah, I've still got like a lot of the heavy hitters on the back burner.
I know for a fact that I need to watch like Shawshank Redemption and
Good Will Hunting. Training Day.
Mallory and I were sitting down, and there's a few movies that she hasn't watched that she really wants to watch.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about it as well. The Truman Show.
Ooh.
I have seen that movie once
a
long time ago.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm actually really interested in watching that movie. And I was like, oh, we can definitely make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was the other one? She hadn't seen. Damn it, it's gonna bother me because we were like scrolling through like movies that had like the feeling and the look of liminal spaces, and the Truman Show was one of them where it had that kind of like utopian kind of feel.
Yeah.
I want to watch Inception again. It's been a long time since I've seen Inception. That was a good one that I remember feeling was a great film.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably think of the other movie later at some point, but anyways, that's anything else you want to touch on before we wrap this one up?
No, I think I'm good. Not really much else that's coming to mind, at least.
We hit all the high notes on this one, and even still some.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for anyone out there who's looking to reach out to us, you can basically on Instagram or on Threads. I've been on Threads recently. You can type in Ian Wolf, and you should be able to find me that way and reach out. Dylan doesn't want to talk to you. That's I usually vet all the comments through me to him. Right. So
it's not yous, it's me.
It's not yous, it's me's. Or you can basically just type in the Aftermath on all your major podcasting platforms. You should be able to find us that way, and all the other ways you can get in contact with us. Or I believe if you just kind of float out in space for long enough, and if you find a colony or something or whatever, we'll be chilling out there somewhere.
Start hearing the broadcast.
Yeah. Or if you just full send with all the passion and rage in your heart, just hurtling towards Earth, we'll meet you along the way.
Right. You'll land on us.
Yeah. You'll make it eventually, though. But anyways, until next week, thank you so much for listening.
See ya.
Bye-bye.